Yes, here we go. It is week 16 of the NFL here on Football Friday, presented by Wolf Spreads. Guys, we're just a few short days away from Christmas, so hopefully you all got your holiday shopping done and all ready to settle in for another thrilling week of NFL action that starts on Thursday and goes into, of course, the big games on Sunday and 3 thrilling Christmas Day games. So you all ready to do this thing?
1,000%.
Yes, we are. Obviously presented by Wolf Spreads. As Johnny said, you're looking to get involved in the action. Well, my action was not good last week. Rooting for your favorite team. Have you ever had a friendly debate on who can pick more games correctly? Does all this talk about parlays, lines, and over and unders make your head spin? It made my head spin last week. And you want to learn more about this sports betting hoopla? Gamble with us and come check out Wolf Spreads. We're running a sports betting competition completely free on the Wolf Spreads app. Here's how it works. Everybody gets $2,000 fantasy dollars. That's fake money to bet on the NFL games with whoever can profit the most with their 2K bankroll wins. And if you're not an NFL fan, don't worry. Wolf Spreads has competitions available for the NBA, MLB, NHL, and college football and basketball. Put fantasy dollars on the over-under, the money line, or the spreads, competing for bragging rights with your fellow players while having additional fun watching sports and not risk losing your house in the process. Wolf Spreads, sports betting for friends who love the action. All right, let's get week 16 going.
Absolutely. And of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, youtube.com/ETB Network, or listening to us wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And if you're listening to us during our premiere, you're probably saying, well, wait a second, it's Thursday. Well, for the next 2 weeks, we are going to be premiering this on Thursday. So we will include the Thursday night games for the next 2 weeks, as well as the Friday and as well as the Saturday, the Sunday and Monday games as well. So that's why we're here a day early. We'll give you the Thursday game in addition to all the games here for Week 16 in the NFL. And as we start Week 16, we've got 26 teams that are still in playoff contention. So I know Tom, who's our playoff scenario guy, is going to be very busy today. So we'll get that. As we get Week 16 rolling here real quick in terms of our point system standings here, I'm still in the lead with 288 points. Tom is in second with 278. Nick D had a very sharp week last week, 11-3-2 for 24 points. He's at 275. We've got Zain at 266. We've got Paul and Ben at 264 and Nick at 262. But you know what? Everybody had a pretty good week last week, so we're all riding high. We came off a week 2 weeks ago where I was the only person to hit the bench lock, and then last week I was the only one to not hit it. But that's how it rolls here, and we'll see what we could do here for week number 16. But before we get it going here with the Thursday game, you know what? It is the holiday season. Christmas is just a few short days away, and I think we have to get, or at least I have to get into the spirit. So let me do this. And then let me get my Santa hat on.
Oh, I could play that game too.
There we go. And let's have some fun here for week 16 in the NFL. And you know what? Since we're here on a Thursday, let's roll with the Thursday night game to get things going. Nick, there you go. Everybody looks really good and in the holiday spirit, and we're ready to feast on some winners. Nick, it's an Al, Kirk, and Kaylee special on Amazon as we have the New Orleans Saints and Derek Carr heading to SoFi Stadium to take on the Matt Stafford and the Rams. And it's the Rams laying 4 points at home.
It's an game, if that's my opinion, really. The Rams have kind of been up and down. The Saints have been playing a little bit better. Not the best road team. Again, I'll say the same thing. Which Matthew Stafford are you going to get? Are you going to get the one that throws 3 touchdowns? You're going to get the one that throws 3 picks and looks miserable. Chris Olave, by the way, has been playing really well the past couple of weeks for the Saints. I don't know. He's come like way out of the blue as of late, but I think just the Rams are a little too much offensively. So I will take the Rams to cover.
Do want to mention real quick. So Chris Olave did not play against my Giants on week 15, but he's expected to be back for this game. Zan?
Yeah, I like the Rams here at home. I think the Rams have been playing considerably well over the last few weeks, and I just simply think the Saints are a little bit shaky, and you don't know what offense you're going to get there. And again, these are two teams that are still fighting for wild card positioning. Obviously, the Saints are still fighting for that coveted NFC South title and the chance to host a home playoff game. But I think those dreams are going to move one step closer to dying this week. So give me the Rams to remain in the playoff hunt. Amazon Prime, and in this game, in a close one, it'll probably end up being like somewhat of a 31-24 type game. I see it being very close, very competitive to the very end, but I just think the Rams are simply the better team, and I think they'll show it on Thursday with a solid rushing attack, and I also like Cooper Kupp to score a few times. So yeah, give me the Rams to cover and win.
So 2 straight weeks that the Saints defense has been outstanding. Now that was against the Panthers and the Giants. Now they got to go cross country on a short week against the Rams coming off, who have been playing great football, especially offensively. This is a different animal for that Saints defense to handle here, and I think that I'm going to go with the team that I trust with more on the offensive side of the ball, and that is the Rams. A little worried that they're laying more than a field goal, but I think they're going to continue their play here. So, especially with Kyron Williams, who's a guy that I know that Ben's brought up a lot here on Football Friday before, I'm going to lay the 4 points and take the Rams to win and cover to start the slate here in Week 16. And Ben?
Yeah, this should be a really good game. You got two teams that are 7-7, pretty much right at the wild card. So, in a really tight race, something's going to have to give. And it's on a short week. It's in LA, like you mentioned, Johnny. So, of course, the Saints are coming off a win last week, but they're playing the Rams. The Rams have been scoring a lot of points as of late. Matt Stafford's been very, very good as of late too. Cooper Kupp and Kyron Williams both being back, of course, has really helped that offense. I'm going to lay the -4 here with the Rams and have them cover.
And Tom, what do you have here?
Yeah, I think, Johnny, you had the kind of argument that I was pretty much thinking of, which is that the Rams are the team that I trust more offensively. The Rams actually coming off a 28-20 victory over the Washington Commanders, and Commanders aren't exactly a great team, so maybe you could show some concern there. Obviously, the Saints put a little bit of a smackdown on the Giants last week, but you guys had mentioned how good the Saints can be as a home team. But as Nick Morgasen mentioned, as a road team, a little bit of a different story. And I'm going to trust the Rams. I'm going to go with the team with the weapons I trust with more. Kyron Williams, Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford. Derek Carr has done some good stuff with the Saints, but obviously I do have my questions with the Saints. You guys know how I feel about them. So I agree with completely everything that you said, Johnny. I feel so much more comfortable, even with the extra point. I would have felt more comfortable if it was a -3, but a -4 is still good enough for me. I will lay the 4 points down and take the Rams to win and cover.
So a clean sweep in game one. And by the way, real quick, Nick D and Paul not only taking the Rams, but also putting their bench lock right out of the gate in Week 16.
Wow.
With the Rams laying the 4 points
Wow.
at SoFi Stadium.
Oh, starting off of a bang, aren't we?
Absolutely. Zan, it is in fact a Noah Eagle, Todd Blackledge, and Catherine Tappan special on NBC on Saturday afternoon, an AFC North showdown with Jake Browning and the Bengals and Mason Rudolph and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Bengals heading to Aquashore Stadium are a 2-point favorite.
Yeah, this is a huge, huge game to the point where I think whoever loses this game is more than likely out of the AFC playoff picture over 2 weeks to go. I just feel like the stakes of this game is too big for Mike Tomlin to pass up. As you guys know, Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season in his decade plus with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think after 3 just gut-wrenching, gut-punch defeats in a row, he's not going to let it happen again. So give me the Steelers to cover the 2. Give me Mason Rudolph and Jalen Warren to do just enough. I think it's going to be a very close game, a bitter end type of game, and a defensive slugfest. I see the Steelers winning this game 17-13, putting the Bengals totally out of their misery and adding a lot more chaos to the AFC wildcard and playoff picture. So I will love the Steelers in this spot. They're at home. It's going to be cold, and Christmas Eve/Christmas Day has been very kind to them in years past, especially that 2016 epic finish against Baltimore. So I think Pittsburgh gets back to their winning ways and remains in the playoff hunt and wins a huge, critical AFC North game that they can absolutely not afford to lose. Give me the Steelers.
So I think some of us were expecting a Jake Browning letdown game last week. I think they were a week too early in that prediction. Playing a division rival on the road is a challenge, and Mason Rudolph is a better option than Mitch Trubisky. And let's remember the Bengals' woes in division this season. They're 0-4 against the AFC North. They're 8-2 against everyone else. I think that continues here. Upset special number 1, and yes, I say it like that. Upset special number 1. Disrespect the Bengals and take the Steelers. Here we go. Ben?
Let's go.
I'm riding the train with you guys as well. The Bengals are likely going to be without Jamar Chase, which I think, of course, takes a lot of their offense out. T. Higgins obviously was massive last week. Tyler Boyd, they could probably carry the slate. But I think Pittsburgh, they're not going to win because of their offense. I think that their offense is pretty inept at this point. Najee Harris has had a massive letdown year on his standards. They've had Deontay Johnson have his moments here and there. Their defense, and I think that the Bengals, like Johnny, you mentioned, they're due for letdown offensively. The Bengals line has had their issues, and I think Kai Smith and TJ Watt are going to come up massive in this one. I think that the Steelers are going to do enough to pull this one out. I'm going to go with the upset special here, +2 with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
What about you, Tom?
All right, I think you guys are convincing me enough to go with a little disrespect the Bengals territory, but not because I think of anything great with Mason Rudolph. In fact, I'm not the highest on Mr. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer over there in Pittsburgh. But look, the Saints, the Steelers have an excellent defense. Noah was a little banged up. They had missed TJ Watt for a while. He is here now, and as you mentioned, the one key stat that does scare me about picking the Bengals is their struggles with the AFC North. But that doesn't mean I'm pretty confident in the Steelers either with the AFC North, because after this one, they got to play Seattle, and then they got to play Baltimore. So if Baltimore has already pretty much clinched up their spot, maybe they rest a lot of their starters, and maybe that's a winnable game. But if they lose this one to Cincinnati, there's a very realistic chance. It's already a more than realistic chance that the Steelers are probably going to finish 9-8 because of the collapse they've been having this December, which I could see totally happening. But of course, Tomlin doesn't have can't seem to find a losing record even if he tried. But if they lose this one to a banged up Bengals team without Joe Burrow and without Jamar Chase, that smells curtains. That smells really bad disaster news for Pittsburgh. So I'll go with Pittsburgh here with upset city. But if they don't pull this one off, forget making playoffs. There's going to be some potentially other dire consequences that could come their way.
Playoffs.
What about you, Nick?
You're going to be shocked, but I'm taking the Bengals to cover and win this game.
Wow.
I'm the one person, I guess, that I'm going to use a Christmas reference. And the Grinch's heart grew 2 sizes this year.
3 sizes.
Oh, 3 sizes, whatever.
Maybe
I'm
2 because it's -2.
Yeah. Remember what I said, guys, about momentum. Do you see the 3-game losing streak in the 3 teams they lost to?
All bad.
Oh, yeah.
Every single one.
Arizona, New England, and the Colts. All not great teams by any standard.
I mean, they gotta.
Colts have been okay, but I could definitely make an argument for the others for sure.
I guess I should be trusting my gut here about going with the Bengals, but I think there's got to be some. Eventually the bottom has to drop out at some point. They got to get some sort of rebound game.
What have the Steelers done to prove that they're a good team? That's the point I'm trying to make. Their quarterback,
I don't think they are a good team, Nick. I think they're mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
Their quarterback situation is a joke. Kenny Pickett, even when he plays, was not great. Trubisky was not great. Now you're putting in Rudolph, who's a third stringer, who really shouldn't be on this team right now because he couldn't perform.
I think it's more the defense is going to try to win the game than the offense winning the game for Pittsburgh.
Which I agree with Ben. Which I agree with Ben completely. But if you want to talk about somebody who shouldn't be on this team, guys, George Pickens, my God.
Oh, that whole thing is a mess. I just as we say all the time, when you have a pick 'em, I don't know. The Steelers are just not doing it for me. And I'm the one who's the Bengals hater. I've been saying it all season that I don't.
I'm picking against them.
What, Johnny?
No, I said we're in a parallel unit. We're in a total opposite here. I'm actually quite surprised by that, especially from you, Nick. I mean, but your point's still valid too, though. I could see the Bengals winning this one too. It's a very weird feeling. Steelers are on life support. There's been talk this week also that Mike Tomlin may not survive this, and it's very rare from Pittsburgh's side to hear this thing. I think though the thing is for me is I think Mason. I know this is going to sound crazy. I also think Mason Rudolph is a better option than Mitch Trubisky.
Well,
I'm not saying much, but
Mitch is more the veteran. Mitch is more the veteran guy. Mason is more of I need a team to play and I need games under my belt. But other valid points, obviously Jamar Chase with the separated shoulder obviously does not help. That's where a lot of their offense was. But at the same time, they were going more to Mixon than they were going to Chase offensively. So I don't know if that's really a big difference offensively.
And
really.
they have Higgins too.
And I got yeah. So you're taking Cincinnati then, right?
I'm taking Cincinnati just because I think the offense is better on Cincinnati, even without Chase over Pittsburgh.
And I have to say that was an amazing comeback win for them because they were down 17-3 in the fourth quarter, looking completely lifeless. And then Jake Browning, who came back to reality for 3 quarters, actually made some great throws in the fourth quarter and overtime to give Cincinnati that win.
And one thing I'll also say is I'll admit when I was wrong. I thought Jake Browning was going to be a complete bust coming out of the XFL and everything.
Well.
He's played well. I think he's had 300-yard games already.
Oh yeah, he's been fantastic. This is a new animal though, going on the road in division though. That's where I'm going to be very curious to see if he keeps this going. So Nick's going to take the Bengals. Let me just look at the other 2 guys here real quick. Paul's also going to take the Bengals, and Nick D's taking the Steelers. So it'll be Nick Morgasen and Paul taking Cincinnati and not disrespecting the Bengals, and everybody else taking the Steelers at home. It's a Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Stark special on Peacock. Tom, it's Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills, taking on Eason Stick and Gift Smith as the new interim coach and the Los Angeles Chargers. And it's the Bills who are laying 11.5 heading to SoFi Stadium.
I mean, come on. Easton Stick.
More like stick a fork in it.
Yeah, the Chargers are more than done. I think the Chargers are past done. I think they've been burnt.
Well, wait a minute. We got to talk about the elephant in the room. Obviously, the firings. Also,
yeah, Brandon. Well, we did say goodbye to Brandon Staley on our last show.
Oh man,
They
could have said goodbye to him at the half of the Raider game.
It was real, Brandon.
It was.
I feel like I should have made a Chargers country let's ride or something like that.
Oh, that would have been so good.
I thought the Raiders were going to get 70. I honestly thought it was going to happen.
You had a chance to.
Hey, you know what? You know that expression. If I had a nickel for every time this happens, in this case, a team with 60 plus points laying a smackdown on an opponent. If I had a time for every time that happened this season, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't much, but it's weird that it happened twice.
So who do you got?
All right. Yeah, but I'm wasting time. There's no debate about this one. It's Buffalo. Buffalo's just a much better team. I think Buffalo has, I don't know if I want to say completely turned around, but they definitely have turned it around to a point where they're putting up a fight. I don't know if they're going to catch the Dolphins. I think it might be a little too late on that, but they're definitely going to be, in that wild card kind of conversation. And look, I just have no faith in the Chargers. And if you think a team led by Easton Stick is going to do anything, especially when you consider that the Chargers defense was already bad enough as it was. I know it's offense defense, but my point is that, the 11.5 can't even be that scary. So this isn't easy. Take the money on this one.
What about you, Nick?
Yeah, this is not going to be close. I know we get on the Bills, obviously, because they had the injuries early on, but it's the Chargers, for crying out loud. They are the laughing stock of the league. Obviously, Brandon Staley gets fired. I think they fired the GM, too, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Joe Tessitore, yep. Mm-hmm.
So that whole team.
And they have cleaned house as well, but I think their running backs coach or somebody else.
They basically cleared everybody out. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't think 11.5 is enough, and that's rare from me even saying that. I think this is going to be blowout city. I could see this being like a 20, 25 point victory for the Bills. Not gonna lock it though. But I think that it's going to be a blowout victory, and I could see this being a blowout at the half.
And Zan?
Yeah, that's the easy pick. I'm picking the Bills to win. I'm picking the Bills to cover, and I'm picking the Bills as a lock of the week. I think this is a easy win for the Bills. I just think the Chargers have nothing going for them right now. They are currently fighting for draft capital at this point. They have nothing. They have nothing left in the tank. This is literally a free win for the Bills. I actually think this line should be bigger. And if it was bigger, like 12, 13, or 15, I would have still took it. That's how confident I am. Give me the Bills to win, and this will be the easiest pick of the entire NFL season. This is a shut the door. Emmett shut 47-3. They will win. This is gonna be bad.
So
wait. Hold on. What was the score you said?
47-3.
Holy God.
So let me just translate this. Forget lock of the week. This is Zan's lock of the season, right here.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. I can get why though, because I mean, if this was Justin Herbert there starting for the Chargers, I mean, first off, the line might be a little bit less than 11.5. It's
Definitely.
No, right.
A more fun game.
Exactly.
And maybe that's where maybe, you know, you talk about the Chargers in the offseason with the coaching, maybe it's a little bit of an attractive piece there. No, but as far as picking this game out, I mean, Buffalo's red hot right now. They almost look like the most dangerous team in the AFC, or at least one of the most dangerous ones. They're finding their form here. I mean, even if they score a 2-touchdown win here, I think that could be it. But you know what? Stronger squad. Not really much else to break. There's going to be no really fired coach boost in this spot. No bump at all. I'm gonna say even if it's a 14-point win, a 2-touchdown win for the Bills, that'll be good enough. So I will lay the points with the Bills at SoFi on Saturday night. And Ben?
Well, I'm cleaning house with you all. I'm going with the sweep here. The Bills, ever since Joe Brady, I think essentially Sean McDermott essentially kind of saved the Bills season. Remember that they were in a kind of a bond mid part of that season against the Broncos that they lost a last-second field goal. I think it was a day or two after they decided to go to Joe Brady. Things have clicked since then. They went to Kansas City. They had a massive win there. They beat Dallas, a very good defense at home. The Chargers have been an absolute nightmare. Justin Herbert obviously is out for the year. Easton Stick, we just have no idea about. Another backup quarterback, we just have no idea about his tape. And yeah, their defense. Joey Bosa's been out for pretty much like half the year. They just gave up 60-plus points to Aiden O'Connell last week. Brandon Staley got fired. It's just a colossal mess over in LA with the Chargers. I'm taking this cover, the Bills, and Zan, I'm on your train as well. I'm taking that as my lock of the week.
Let's go.
Wow.
I'd love to see
before we even get to the Sunday slate, we've already got 4 guys with bench locks this week. And Nick D, Paul, both taking the Buffalo Bills for winning cover here.
I'm about to say.
Yeah, I'm sorry, a little bit of a fool there. And Zan, don't forget, don't think I didn't forget this. Quick shout out to Melissa Stark. This will be her 100th regular season game on the sideline. So congratulations to her.
Wow.
She's one of the best in the business, and we'll have her here on Saturday. All right, now to the Sunday slate. Adam Amin, Mark Schler with Christina Pink special on the NFL on Fox. We've got Gardner Minshew and the Indianapolis Colts taking on Taylor Heineke and the Atlanta Falcons down there in Atlanta. Second time this season that Heineke has been named the starter. The Falcons, a 1-point home favorite. Wrong team's favorite in this one, in my opinion, guys. I'm going with upset special number 2 here, and it's the Indianapolis Colts. This is the second straight week that their defense gets to face an underwhelming offense. And just like last week, it's going to be a similar result. So I'm taking Indy plus the 1, upset special number 2 here in week 16. Ben?
Well, remember, guys, that picked the Panthers last week? I was the lone wolf against the Falcons. I just did not believe in this Falcons team for the last couple weeks, and there's a reason why. Their quarterback play is a mess. The Colts with Gardner Minshew, low-key, guys, Gardner Minshew might get like a decent pay rate for a bridge quarterback, Ever since Anthony Richardson went down, which sucks because I think Richardson's going to have a really good career with them. Minshew's kind of kept them within the race. He's done really good, things with them. He got a couple touchdowns last week against the Steelers defense. Now I don't know about Michael Pittman Jr. He probably won't play this weekend. I think he's obviously a massive part of their offense, but I'm going to go with the Colts here. I just like their offense better right now. Their offensive line's a lot better, and they're going to find ways to win. So, yeah, I agree with Johnny that this line is wrong. Give me the upset special number 2, and the Colts a +1.
Tom, what about you?
Yeah, I just really don't understand why the Falcons are still a favorite after losing to the previously one-win Panthers last week. It just baffles me. Because like you mentioned, Ben, Gardner Minshew has been playing extremely well. You thought that after Anthony Richardson's injury, all the Jonathan Taylor drama and injury, that the Colts would just completely fall apart. But they've managed to tread water and stay in the hunt for the AFC wild card. And actually, I think they're even in the mix for the division because the Jaguars have had their stumbles. So you got to give credit where credit's due there. But I mean, it's not even just the quarterback play with the Falcons. It's also just how they use their offensive weapons. What the hell? I am so pissed off. And it's not even just in a fantasy, perspective. It's just you have one of the most explosive, probably the best running back to come out of this 2023 rookie draft class in Bijan Robinson. And I have no idea how the hell they are not utilizing him better. I have no idea how they continue to misuse Kyle Pitts or Drake London or any of their offensive weapons. They have the potential to be the Falcons. They have the pieces to be a really underrated, young, up and coming team. And Arthur Smith just continues to fumble the bag with it. It is unbelievable how frustrating it is to watch that Atlanta team. Absolutely not with you, Vegas. Upset special number 2 for me as well. I'm going with Indianapolis.
Nick?
Yeah, I got the Colts too. I'm going a little Ozzy Osbourne. I'm getting on that crazy train and riding it with Gardner Minshew.
Is back, baby.
Yes,
Yes,
and
sir.
I like Minshew. Minshew has been. I'm not even just going to say great. He's been amazing the way he's held down this situation, keeping the Colts in games. Even though he's not winning every week, he's keeping them in games until the fourth quarter, which is not an easy task for a team that has a reverse split when it comes to home and road record. Like Ben said, if Pittman plays or not, that's obviously a huge factor in how the offense goes. But what Gardner Minshew is doing is an audition for wherever his next contract or next team is going to be. He's going to get paid, even if he's a backup, because he is reliable and consistent and will stay on the field. So, yeah, upset for me too, Colts.
Zain,
He'd
what
be a
about you?
good bridge, by the way, for like the Pats or Jets. I'm telling you, because if the Pats don't decide to go out for a quarterback draft wise, which I don't think will happen, I think we're going to draft one. He'd be a perfect guy. Baker. I don't know about Baker, but Gardner Minshew, I would definitely take a flyer on.
Baker's been good too, but I think Minshew's been better.
Yes.
Baker has been good, but
If we've learned anything, you need a backup as much as you need a starter in the NFL, especially
I
this
was just
with all
gonna
these
say,
things
Johnny.
that are going on. Zan, what do you have?
Yeah, I'm riding the train with you guys. I think the Colts cover the spread here, and I think they keep their AFC South title hopes alive. The scenario is in play where if the Colts win out, they surprisingly win the AFC South thanks to the Jaguars crapping the bed the last 3 weeks, and I think the Colts keep it rolling. I think that Gardner Minshew is one of the best backup quarterbacks turn starter stories in the NFL this season, and I think he keeps things rolling, and I really don't think the Colts will need to score a ton of points to win this game. I see this game being like a 17-10 AP game where the defense wins the game at the end and gets a game-winning sack or a game-winning interception or something. I just see the Colts, playing an ugly brand of football, but still finding a way to win. And I just think overall the Colts are better at every facet of the game, but especially when Gardner Minshew doesn't make mistakes, the Colts play really well, and it continues this week. So give me the Colts on the road plus the 1 to get the win and keep their AFC South and AFC wildcard hopes afloat.
There we go. And Paul and Nick D also taking the Colts, so a complete upset special for Indy against the Falcons down in Atlanta. Well, here's a crew I haven't had a chance to say in a while. Ben, we've got Chris Myers, Robert Smith, and Jen Hale on Fox. As we go to Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina, Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers are 5-point favorites taking on Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers.
Well, before I get into my pick, I'm just going to quickly say, guys, that I'm the biggest Panthers fan the last couple weeks of the season because we are number 2. They are number 1. We need some wins for them, and there's a chance we still might be number 1. As they say, we are number 1.
Hey, you've been calling the
But
Panthers
anyway.
here lately. What about here?
Oh, no, I'm not. Unfortunately, I would obviously like to be Ron in this case, but in terms of your cases, guys, I'm going to go Packers here. The Panthers obviously won last week, but they only scored like 8-9 points. So I still don't think that they score a lot. They're barely having any fans in their stadium. I mean, it's 45 cents up for a ticket now. It's just been that colossal of a mess over there. It sucks for that overall fan base. The Packers, Jordan Love, obviously, I think he's going to have a big one. I don't think he's got to do a lot, but that defense, Joe Barry, I think, the defense has kind of been a little bit of a mess. But, I don't think the Packers are going to have a letdown here. I expect them to cover this one, and pretty convincingly. I'm going to go Packers.
Tom, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, congratulations to the Panthers for finally getting back into the win column. Big ups to them. Unfortunately, they're, as much as the Packers have had their flaws the last couple of weeks, I think you look at the Panthers and the kind of crap that they have on that team, and this is going to be a rebound game for Green Bay. And I just don't see it happening with the Panthers anytime soon, unfortunately for your Pats then. I think there's not much I need to even say here. I'm just going to say that I think the Packers, through the leadership of Jordan Love and the weapons that they do have on the offense, will get this done pretty handily. I think the Packers will win and cover this 5-point spread.
Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, this is not even going to be a competition. By the way, that reference for number 1, you were talking about a SpongeBob reference. It was his hat, Mr. Krabs. He was number 1. Yes, that's the reference you were talking about.
City Urban Jaggerman Jensen.
Right. So I was doing some look at the amount of fans that showed up. 5,000 fans showed up to the game out of a possible 75,000 seats.
Oh my God.
So that should tell you how bad.
Not even
and
preseason crowd.
Not even.
Wow.
Even though I've been on the record and I don't like Jordan Love can't even hopefully lose to the Panthers. And I say hopefully because I never know with Jordan Love, because I've been wrong quite a few times with some of these games, especially at Lambeau. Even though this is on the road, the Panthers are a bad team. This is not even. I have nothing really else to say except take the money.
Dan?
Yeah, I mean, as a diehard Bears fan, I would love to see the Panthers pull off one of the biggest upsets in the NFL season, but I don't see it happening. The Packers are in must-win mode to stay in the NFC wildcard thick of things. Unfortunately, their NFC North hopes died last week, so the only way that they can make the postseason now is via wildcard berth, and this is a must-win game that they absolutely have to have before their final 2 games are two of the toughest games of the year, especially with the Bears team in the final week that's been playing better. And of course, the Panthers are just in tank mode. They're building for the future. They obviously have their quarterback of the future. They just don't have enough help around them. So even though the Panthers got a big win and put a dent in Atlanta's potential postseason hopes, the upset train is not going to continue. Give me the Packers with the dominant win here. I would say something like 27-13, and they'll play their best football of the season and keep hope alive. Give me the Packers.
Yeah, get right game for a Packers team that has not capitalized on having one of the more favorable end of the season schedules. And even if they are missing pieces, which it seems like they're always missing in games, I think they still have enough more than enough against this lowly Panthers team. I'm gonna lay the 5 and take Green Bay on the road here against the Panthers, and so will the other two guys, Paul and Nick D. So once again, we're in all in lockstep. This time, taking the Packers over the Panthers. All right, Nick. Let me
this
get
wasn't anybody's lock, by the way.
And I'm not comfortable taking a lock in this one. That's the thing,
I'm not
Packers
either.
Struggling. It is 5 points. I'm just not comfortable with this one.
What Jordan Love are you going to get? That's the other question.
Good point. We'll see what we
Right.
get on
The Panthers just can't score.
Yeah, that's the thing too. All right, Nick, this is your crew. Ian Eagle, Charles Davis, Evan Washburn special on the NFL on CBS. We've got the Cleveland Browns and Joe Flacco taking on the Houston Texans at NRG Stadium. Question's going to be, will C.J. Stroud clear concussion protocol in time for this game on Sunday, or are we going to look at Case Keenum for the second straight week? But the Browns on the road laying 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, if Stroud doesn't play, I just don't think they win. I think that's their big offensive weapon. He's the one really leading them. Now, they had a lot of injuries. They had Nico Collins, who was injured but back. Hank Dell, I don't know, did he come back or was he still injured?
Dell's out for the season.
Oh, he's out for the season. Okay. I just don't think the Texans have enough weapons, and especially if Stroud is out, I think that's worse. So, and the Browns, again, top 3, top 5 defense. And Joe Flacco actually has, refound the youth a little bit, yards-wise, which I wish he kind of did that in a green uniform, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I'm taking the Browns to cover. I just think the Texans don't have enough offensive weapons.
Zan, what about you?
I like the Browns here. We're gonna go off the assumption that C.J. Stroud doesn't play. I think that Joe Flacco keeps it going, and I think the Browns know that if they lose this game, it could not be good in terms of seeding implications, because if they win this game, there's more than likely a 90% chance that they will make the playoffs. So it's better to just take care of business now. That way you're not dealing with chaos in week 17 and 18. So give me the Browns to win this game. Probably somewhere around the 10-point mark, maybe somewhere like 27-17. I think this is a comfortable win for the Browns, and they keep their momentum going this time on the road.
So first of all, as much as I respect D'Amico Ryans, you killed me last week, because when you announced that Case Keenum was going to start last week against the Titans, and I bench locked Tennessee, I knew I was in trouble, because I was under the assumption that it was going to be Davis Mills. But you know what? D'Amico Ryans to me locked up his Coach of the Year with that decision last week. I mean, that was an unbelievable call going to Keenum, and it worked out. But you got 2 Coach of the Year candidates in this one, Kevin Stefanski and D'Amico Ryans. But to me, this matchup's going to be one thanks to Jim Schwartz on defense and his ability to fluster young passers. So I'm going to lay the 2.5 here on the road with Cleveland to eke out a 3-point win here against Houston and keep their winning ways going. Ben Kruse, what do you have?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this one, and the Browns have been great. Their defense has been stellar, but you got kind of an unknown. I know Joe Flacco's obviously been, being all right the last couple weeks. Case Keenum obviously, last week, was able to pull it off. So I'm going upset special number 3. I think the Texans are going to find a way to pull this out. I think that the Browns on the road have been a lot more skeptical than at home. They've been a lot better of a home team. So I'm going to kind of go based on that. I think D'Amico Ryans will find a way to win this one. And I think that they run it out after the massive win last week.
What about you, Tom?
See, I was tempted to use my lock on the Browns. And, it's funny. Going into last week, remember last week I was hitting myself on Football Friday thinking, not realizing about all the Texans injuries, and ended up going with the Titans because I already locked in the Texans as part of my Wolf spread bets last week. Well, my Wolf spread bets actually paid off because the Texans actually performed pretty admirably. And that's what's stopping me from using my lock, is because, you can say without C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, and Tank Dell that they're going to lose this game. And you know what? With the Browns defense the way that it is, it's definitely not going to be in their favor. But, maybe the Titans are a very weak team. But last week showed that even without those weapons, Texans still have a lot of pieces that they can use, to surprise people and pull off some victories. Is it going to come against the Browns? Probably not, but I can't count the Texans out completely. That said, even though I'm not going to use my lock, still give me the Browns. Still, I'm going to lay the 2.5 points down for them to cover.
Paul and Nick D both taking the Texans, so we're in a split call here down at NRG Stadium. Tom, we ended with you there, and we'll start with you here. A big NFC North matchup. It is, in fact, a Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, Shannon Spake special on Fox. It is Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions taking on Nick Mullins and the Minnesota Vikings, and the Lions are a field goal road favorite.
Okay, so actually there is something I needed to mention about the Browns. Technically, the Browns were the first playoff scenario, but the Browns were also going to need a lot of help because the Browns are going to need to win, and then they need a whole bunch of loss tie combinations to get in this week. It's like Cincinnati lost, Denver lost, Buffalo lost, Miami win, Indy loss, or like Pittsburgh loss, Buffalo lost, Miami win, Denver loss. So I don't know if I can necessarily count that.
So you're basically saying there's no chance
for this week.
We'll
So
save that for next week.
So yeah, maybe save that for next week. However, very simple here for the first official playoff scenario of this week. For the Lions, it's win and the division is yours. That's it.
Wow.
It all comes down to this game with the Lions and Vikings. However, of course, if the Lions end up losing the next two, this game and Week 17 game, and the Vikings win this one, obviously, and win Week 17 against the Packers on Sunday night, it could all come down to that Week 18 matchup.
Oh, man.
Baby.
Sunday Night Football, week game 272 and week 18. You can see it right now.
What
do you see here, though, Tom?
Yeah. Look, I understand the Lions have had, no pun intended, a roaring kind of season. But think of the teams. Think of the teams, though, that we've talked about, very early on, having some of these, spectacular victories, all their momentum. The Eagles, and they're struggling. And then the Lions, and they're struggling. The Jaguars, that's the other team I was thinking of, and they're struggling now. And the Lions are kind of in that same boat that, they may not be that same dominant team that we thought of very early on. Where, remember, once upon a time this season, guys, the Lions were the number one team record-wise in the National Football League. And, they still are an incredible team. I just don't know if they can pull it off in front of the Minnesota crowd, especially if Justin Jefferson is still good to go and playing. I know the Vikings have their quarterback woes, but you know what? They still have the weapons around them. Ty Chandler last week pulling off an amazing performance. Maybe this is a little biasness in me, and maybe from the fact that it's the Vikings, and I want that as the game 272, but I'm going upset number 3 for me. I'm going with Minnesota at home.
Nick?
Wow. I mean, I've been going back and forth in my head because, again, the Lions in big games have just not been performing at all this whole season. They're just not beating the teams that they need to. I don't know. The Vikings are a question mark to me, obviously, because what are they on quarterback number 4 for this season, essentially, with Mullins and
I think 3
or 3, whatever.
No, it's actually 4.
It is 4. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Although I will say, Nick Morgasen, don't throw stones when you're a house of class, considering your team and how many quarterbacks you've had.
I wasn't judging. I was just making a point. Trust me. You don't have to tell me my team stinks. I know that.
Oh, no worry. We're one game away from showing you how much
okay. But I think the Lions will somehow figure this out because I think they're going to win the division. I think they're going to just barely squeak by. The Vikings, I don't know who they are. They're kind of a question mark, and I think the Lions will squeak this out by 4 or 5 points.
Zan, what about you?
Yeah, I like this as an upset special. I think Minnesota wins this one, keeps their NFC North title hopes alive for another week. I just think this is going to be a slugfest. I think these are two teams that that don't like each other. It's going to get chippy. There's going to be a bunch of penalties in this game. I think there's going to be some sort of phantom fumble or interception that turns the game one way. I just see this being an absolute just a fight. It's going to be one of those games where the team that makes the first mistake is more than likely going to lose. And I think a David Montgomery fumble is going to be the difference between them clinching the NFC North this week and them waiting another week. So give me Detroit to cover in this game, but I do think when these two teams rematch in Detroit, they will get it done and still win the NFC North. They just won't end up upping it up this week. So give me Detroit.
Are you taking Detroit?
I'm taking Minnesota.
Okay. I thought you were saying upset special. That's why I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was just saying. I was just saying. It's not going to happen this week, but I'll take Detroit. I'll take Detroit in the rematch though. When they play in 2 weeks. Yeah.
This is a close call, and the fact that I'm not getting a half a point on either side here makes it very, very challenging.
No hook.
Yeah, no hook, and that's what happened last week twice. We pushed twice last week because we weren't getting hooks. For 3 quarters last week, Minnesota's defense was outstanding, and then it faltered down the stretch there against Cincinnati. And Nick Mullins, I got to be fair, played very, very well in that game. And I know Detroit's coming up. Man, this is really close. I'm going with the Vikings, though. You know what? I think the game at home, it's a tough place to play, divisional opponent. I know the Lions looked really good against Broncos country. Let's ride. But Nick Mullins showed me something, and you know what? That defense is still very, very dangerous there. That's who's the defensive guy that's there?
For the Vikings?
Yeah, it's the former.
Brian
Flores.
Yeah, Brian Flores.
Yeah, I think he this might be kind of a lower scoring game, and I'm going to take the Vikings at home here in an upset special. So let's continue the upset train going here. I got a few more where that came from, so I will at least get the 3 points with Minnesota as well, and I think they win this game outright. Ben?
Yeah, it should be a really close one. Unfortunately, I'm going to not take the upset here on this one, and I'm going to ride with the Lions. The Lions obviously are coming off of a good win last week. They played a really good defense in Denver, who was really playing well until that point. I just have to see Nick Mullins play consistent. And, for a guy like him, I just don't know if he's going to do it back-to-back weeks. As much as, they're on the road, which I think for the Lions, they've been a little bit more susceptible. Heck, they went over to Chicago and Zane's Bears beat them. But I think that the Lions find a way in this one. They know that they really need this one for playoff aspiration. And I think for the Vikings, they might get their revenge in a couple weeks, but I just don't see Nick Mullins consistent put on a showing like he did last week. So I'm laying the 3.
All right. Well, before we get to this game, we got video number 1 here of week 16.
Wait, Johnny.
Yeah.
Hey, Johnny. What about Paul and Nick?
They both took the Lions to win and cover.
We're split
in Minnesota.
It's all split, yeah.
There's a split call amongst the 7 of us there in that NFC North matchup, which I think is only appropriate because it's a very, very close one. All right, I was told that these are 2 fantastic videos we've got. I mean, when are they not?
I wish we could play this. Johnny, I wish we could play the second one first because I think this first one is too much of a masterpiece. As I said, Nick, you asked me, you said, I don't need to tell you how much your team stinks. Well, I do. And in the spirit of Christmas time, I have 12 reasons why your team stinks.
Oh, so you're going to be a Grinch. That's how this is going to be.
Awesome.
All right, watch the video.
Green.
All right, hold on. Wow.
That is brilliant.
Wow. Thanks for the shout out being in there.
That is brilliant.
Okay.
Merry
That
Merry
I
Christmas.
say this every week. That's his best one.
Masterpiece.
The effort that took to pull that off. Oh, I mean, that's
You
you
wanna
know what?
know
That's
a
more
fact?
exciting than the actual game coming up on Sunday.
Wow.
You want to know?
Oh man. Well, Nick, we'll make this really quick here.
Wait.
because
Do you want to know a fun fact, guys? I did
What?
that in like maybe an hour.
Wow.
I was
Wow.
gonna say, it had to take some time. That wasn't easy. So kudos to you, Tom. That's the real winner.
Nice,
Now,
Tom.
this game has absolutely no playoff implications. So we'll make this very, very quick. Nick, I'll go to you here. We've got Spiro, Adam, and Aditi on CBS, and the Commanders and the Jets at MetLife Stadium. The Jets, a field goal favorite.
Well, I'm going to play something first because I'm about to shake things up.
Yeah, it's right. Okay.
So this is going to be my lock of the week, but not because of the way you think it is.
Wait,
I'm
are you telling me?
locking the Commanders +3
Wow.
and to win outright.
Well, it's not a surprise because remember, Nick cannot take the Jets for the rest of the season, so it's not a surprise. But it's a full upset special bench lock.
Yes,
Nick Morgasen.
I'm fully on the upset train. Their situation is a mess. Aaron Rodgers out in the media saying, "I'm not playing. I am playing." Their whole situation. Robert Saleh's talking out of his ass because he doesn't know what he's doing over there. The Commanders are going to win this game, and it's not going to be close because the Jets are not going to do anything offensively. Their defense is tired because they're out on the field 99.9% of the game. It feels like. So yeah, upset special bench lock. Commanders outright win.
Wow.
There you go. There's one of
Donated
your
bonus
11
points for
Morgasen
that, by the way.
screens.
We'll see how that works out. Zan, real quick, what do you think?
Yeah, so I'm taking the Commanders to cover, but I think the Jets win an ugly game by 1 point, and I think I think the final score is going to be 7-6.
Oh,
What?
So the Commanders go down and tie it, score a touchdown with no time left, and they either miss an extra point or they go for 2 and miss it, right?
That's exactly
Titanic
exactly
Riverboat
right.
on Rivera. That's right. That's how one step closer to him getting fired. Yeah,
That's
first of
exactly
all,
right.
yeah, by the way, I love the under more than any other play in this game. But if I got to make a play on the point spread, I'm taking the team that has the best unit of the 4 that are playing. That's the Jets defense. I think they win this game by 5 or so.
Okay.
Now, the only thing that concerns me is that we're doing this not knowing who's starting for the Jets because Zach Wilson obviously is the best option for them, and we don't know if he's going to clear concussion protocol by Sunday. But I'm going to take the team with the best with the best unit of the 4. That's the Jets defense, and that's what gets them this win. And yes, that pisses off their fan base because it's going to drop them in the draft order a little bit more. So I'll take the money. Ben?
By the way, just want to say one thing. Adam Schefter did confirm the day we're recording that he is in concussion protocol.
Yeah, and since we're doing this recording a date earlier, that does not necessarily help us. We've got guys in concussion protocol that if we were doing this on our normal record day, we would have a little bit more clarity on it. So you got to take these with a grain of salt as well. But I'm still going to take the Jets defense to win this game over the Commanders. Ben?
yeah, this is a tough one because it's not tough because of the game. It's more tough in terms of the roster feel. The Commanders' defense is horrific. They are more likely than not going to fire Ron Rivera. They already fired Jack Del Rio. The Jets don't know their offense quarterback. So it's like, what's going to happen here? But with that being said, I'm going to take the stronger suit on one of those teams, which is the Jets. I don't think that they're going to win by their offense like the Steelers-Bengals game. I think they're going by their defense. And Sam Howell has been struggling the last couple of weeks. He's continually getting sacked. The Jets, I feel like, can do that on that offensive line. So I'm going to have, like Johnny, I'm going to have the Jets to cover this one, but it's not going to be pretty.
Tom, what about you?
Yeah, in spite of me making that video, somehow I'm still going to take the Jets to cover. Barely cover. Like,
yeah.
See,
like, it's
Nick,
irredeemable.
I'll say that, Nick, let me just say something real quick to you. By the way, Paul and Nick also took the Commanders. I would take the Commanders if they had their 2 edge rushers that they didn't trade away at the deadline. That's something I think that this is the kind of game where they're going to miss those 2 guys, and they have been an unmitigated disaster since those 2 have gone away. giving
Yeah,
up
but what about their
defense has been
offense?
awful.
It's non-existent.
right. Neither. I mean, well,
The Jets'
I
offense is-
Nick, the only thing that exists.
What?
The only thing that exists right now is the Jets defense.
That's it. Yeah. That's why I love the under more than any other play in this game. That's why, I mean, if I could bench lock an under, I would do that, but we can't do that in terms of ETB. So that's why we're going to do that. All right, let's go to this one. Zan, we've got Andrew Catalon, Tiki Barber, Matt Ryan, and AJ Ross on CBS as the Seattle Seahawks come across country to take on the Tennessee Titans. Now, again, this is a tough one to figure out because we do not know the quarterback matchup, whether it's going to be Geno Smith or Drew Lock for Seattle. And we don't know if it's going to be Will Levis or Ryan Tannehill for the Titans. So take that all in, and the Seahawks coming cross-country are laying 2.5.
Yeah, this smells like a trap game for Seattle, but I think they find a way to get it done in terms of their defense and special teams. I think they make a few big plays on whoever the quarterback's going to be, and I actually think that Seattle scores a couple of times spots you expect that. I actually think that also that if Geno Smith plays and if he's fully healthy, I think that he'll be able to do enough against the Titans defense that simply just struggled. They couldn't put Houston away. There's been several other games this season that were super winnable for Tennessee, both at home and on the road, and they're just too of an inconsistent a team for me to figure out. And I think that Seattle's riding an incredible high off the Philadelphia Eagles upset, and I think they keep it rolling on the road in Nashville. So give me Seattle minus 2.5 and a rare AFC NFC crossover matchup this weekend.
Zan, you're talking about the inconsistencies, and I'm going to meet that inconsistency and go the other way here. And this is going to be another upset special for me. And I'm taking the Titans plus 2.5 because the Titans, the thing is, so the Titans are playing on regular rest at home again for the second straight week. And then you've got Seattle is going to come off that emotional win they had on Monday night on a short week, go cross country where they lost 5 straight games away from Lumen Field and by pretty big margins. I think that's why even with Levis or Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, I think they find a way to win this one. So another upset special. Forget just giving me the 2.5 points. I think the Titans win this game outright against Seattle there on Sunday. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Seattle. Like the Browns, Tennessee's really been a really bad home team. They've actually lost 2 games in overtime at home and 2 games in overtime at home that they should have actually won. So
Agreed.
the Titans, to me, they have chances. They've given me chances to, pick them a lot this year. Seattle's obviously coming off of a massive win against Philadelphia. They want to try to stay within the race. And Drew Lock guys or Geno Smith, they're kind of similar. They don't kind of figure it out regardless of who their quarterback is right now. So I think that they have the weapons to, Kenneth Walker, Lockett, Metcalf. I think they're going to do enough here, and I think they're going to do enough to cover the 2.5.
Tom, what about you?
I can't agree with you, Johnny, on about the Titans because, as I think it was Ben who mentioned, that the Titans are, for what we say about the Seahawks being a terrible road team, Titans are a terrible home team, and the Seahawks, right. you would think, with Drew Lock starting at the helm, even with Jalen Hurts having the flu, that it would have been a nightmare game for them on Monday night. But as you mentioned, pulling off one of the most unbelievable performances on Monday night, and absolutely incredible comeback there in Seattle against a strong team like Philadelphia. Well, at least Philadelphia should be considered a strong team. That said, I think even with whether it's Geno Smith, whether it's Drew Lock, I think the Seahawks just have the better pieces. Even if everything isn't clicking together like it should for Seattle, I have a lot more faith in them than I do in Tennessee. So I'm going to lay the 2.5 down on Seattle.
All right. And Nick, what about you?
I think if it wasn't, excuse me, for them beating Philadelphia in an upset form, I think this would be quite literally a true PK pick'em. Like quite literally, I don't think there would be a spread because I think both teams are just in terrible directions, injury-wise, quarterback-wise. Will Levis has not been great. Now, I know Tannehill started the season, but I think people also were a little expecting too much from Will Levis taking over from Tannehill, expecting it to be like the next big Hall of Fame quarterback, which is not what Will Levis was going to be. He was a top second rounder at the beginning of the round, and you hope to get value. Now, Geno Smith has been in and out injured. Drew Lock actually looked pretty good, considering that the game was as close as it was. He actually was driving them downfield and getting really good drives with Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like the Titans, and that whole situation with Derrick Henry, the rumors now swirling that he could be out at the end of the season, and like he hasn't been great either. Like defenses are playing him tough a lot more now than they once were, and he's not getting the yardage.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take Seattle to cover. I just think they're the better team.
Nice pick.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you, and I wish I had Nick D or Liam here with me today. There should be no line on this game because we don't, as of right now, because we don't know the quarterback matchup, really. I mean, they're both really questionable. I know Levis left the game last week with the ankle sprain. So really right now, there should be no line on this game until we know what the quarterback matchup is going to be. Let me check Paul and Nick D here real quick. They both took the Titans. So they're going to jump aboard with me, and you guys will all take Seattle there at Nissan Stadium. Well, speaking of quarterback situations we don't know, we've got this one here in Tampa at Raymond James. Ben, a Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, Melanie Collins special on CBS as the Jacksonville Jaguars take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield. Of course, question mark with this game. Will Trevor Lawrence clear concussion protocol in time for this one, or are we going to see CJ Beathard? But either way, right now we've got the Bucs laying a point at home.
Yeah, this one's tough because it's two Florida teams, so obviously that's not going to be impacted. But what could be impacted is the health of Trevor Lawrence. And remember, obviously, that there were reports of him trying to, obviously, when he played the Browns, he did not look great. The week after against the Ravens, he was very up and down. I love Trevor Lawrence. I think he's going to be a star in this league for a while. But the Jaguars right now offensively have had a hard time moving the football. Their offensive line's getting beat up. Tampa has been able to kind of hang around, guys, and they had a big win last week in Lambeau. It's a very tough place to play in December, and Baker Mayfield was absolutely balling out. I was very surprised about it, consistent the way he played last week. It's a really close line. I really had to think about it, but I think the Bucs are going to cover this one. I really do. I think I just don't know specifically the Jag situation at quarterback, and if Lawrence plays, what kind of Lawrence are we going to get? Because when we saw it kind of happen before, it wasn't great. So, and just been up and down right now. Tampa's defense has been all right now. You know, they kind of found ways to kind of force some turnovers. So I'm going to lay the Bucs here at the -1 and just kind of take my chances.
Tom, what do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Jaguars are, I still think, the best team within the AFC South, but it's no question that their momentum has been hurt. Trevor Lawrence is banged up. And Baker Mayfield, I think we've already addressed this earlier, you know, even before we got to this game, that Baker Mayfield has been doing pretty okay for his role over there in Tampa. And he's been holding his own. That Tampa is now, obviously the NFC South is such a terrible division, but holding its own in that it's a chase for that division title. There's a chance Baker Mayfield could lead Tampa to be the NFC South champions. So given all, and Tampa's riding a bit more momentum, a bit more better momentum, I should say, than Jacksonville. So I don't really have too many thoughts on this game. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go with the momentum, and I'm going to go with the home team, and I'm going to lay the 1 point down for Tampa.
Nick, what do you think here?
Again, I'm going to start with momentum. They lost their last 3 games. Now, it's a little different in this regard because they lost to Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Baltimore, which are 3 tough competitors. But the Jaguars just look a little lost out there offensively. And I'm concerned about the way they're playing. They're not getting up and playing defensively because everyone says, oh, they're a great defensive team. They're not playing great. They're giving up a lot of points. They're giving up 23 or more points in their last 6 games. It's a lot. And I just don't know if they have the offense, especially if Trevor Lawrence is not playing. They're definitely not going to win. Baker Mayfield has looked way better than everybody thought. And I think, like Gardner Minshew, Baker Mayfield is auditioning for whatever possible job is out there or for more money or a better offer. Because has he been perfect? No. but he's definitely been serviceable and more than serviceable out there as a starter. Even if Trevor was starting, I still like the Bucs in this matchup. I just think they're playing better football right now. So take them up.
Dan, what do you think?
Yeah, when you're in a questionable situation like this, where you don't really know the quarterback's going to be, and both teams are kind of streaky in itself, you got to take the home team here. I mean, I think this game matters more to Tampa Bay than it does Jacksonville. I'm pretty confident that Jacksonville is going to make the playoffs no matter what. But Tampa Bay is not only fighting for its postseason lives; it's fighting for its division title lives with how close the top three teams in the NFC South are. And if Baker Mayfield plays this weekend, I think it's going to do wonders for a Bucs team that just needs some sort of a spark. So I am picking this under the assumption that Baker Mayfield plays. And with that being said, I think Baker plays well. I think Mike Evans plays well. I think Rachaad White has another awesome day on the ground. Give me the Bucs to cover the one, and give me the Bucs to cover by at least 7. We're going to go with a final score of 27-20 under in Tampa, in an absolute must-win game for both teams in the unofficial Battle of Florida.
God, this is a game I wouldn't touch at all. That's the thing.
Oh, wait a minute. Is this degenerate gambler status?
Oh, yeah.
I can say that quite a bit this week because of a lot of unknown circumstances. Yeah. Because I wouldn't even be comfortable touching the total in this one because I don't know what to expect. Now, let me look at when I look at Jacksonville, though, just go back to that game last week. The fact that they actually held the Ravens to 23 points was actually encouraging. And they're the kind of team that actually will stop the run game. See, Green Bay can't stop anybody from – Nick, I'll get that total in just a second. Green Bay cannot stop anybody running the ball, and that's what helped Tampa Bay last week. This week, though, I think Jacksonville can stop that run game, and I think they're going to force Baker Mayfield to beat them. But if you look also at Jacksonville, they actually play a lot better away from their American home. So this is really tough. I'm going to take Jacksonville to win this game. Go with another upset special if you wanted to say it is. It's a tough one to pick out because the Buccaneers are just also one of those teams that every time I feel comfortable in taking them and I feel like they're turning the corner, they take a step back. So I'm gonna roll with Jacksonville here to win this one there at Raymond James. What's the total, Nick?
It's 42.5. Right now, it's 42.5.
I think I would lean slightly over.
I would say so too.
Yeah, I would lean slightly over. But again, those are two picks, the spread and the total, that I would not touch. But I am going to but I have to make a play in this game. So I am going to take Jacksonville to win this one technically on the road. Let me look at Paul and Nick D here. All right, that makes me feel a little bit better. They both did take Jacksonville. So again, another split call, at least for the 5 of us, though. I will be the lone wolf there at Raymond James. All right, Zan, let's go to Soldier Field. We've got Kevin Kugler, Mark Sanchez, and Laura Oakman on the NFL on Fox as Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals take on your Chicago Bears and Justin Fields. And the Bears are laying 4 points.
Yeah, the Vegas isn't too kind with the Bears when it comes to the Bears being favorites. Usually the Bears play down to their competition, but this week I think it's a get-right game for Justin Fields. I think if he would have had 1 or 2 more plays, they arguably would have beat Cleveland, but I just think the Bears defense has played really well the last month of the season. Arizona has nothing to play for. The Bears still have postseason hope, if you want to even call it that. This is potentially the last week that they could be in contention for a late postseason berth. And I just think December in Chicago is the most bad news for an Arizona team that's traveling across country and hasn't really played their best football as of late. So I expect the Bears to get back on track, win this game, and stave off elimination for at least another week before they play a critical game against the Atlanta Falcons in Week 17. So with all that being said, the Bears give me Justin Fields to have a really good game, and we'll see if Eberflus remains on thin ice or not. But I feel confident in picking the Bears, so I will do so.
Yeah, think about how close that game was for Chicago to win last week. How close that Hail Mary was at the very end there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the Bears defense been playing a lot better here. I know the Cardinals did score 29 last week, but they gave up 45. But I think the Bears defense is the factor in this one. So I think they win, but I think this number is a little bit too inflated. So I'm going to take the 4 points with the Cardinals there at Soldier Field. I think the Bears still win it, but I think it lands inside that number. I think this is a little bit too high when you have two teams that are, not the best in the world, let's just say. But I think the defense is the deciding factor here. So maybe even a late field goal at the very end there for Chicago at home gets this one done. So I think the Bears win, but I'm going to take the points with the Cardinals at Soldier Field.
Okay.
I'm going to be really heavily interested in this game because not for playoffs, but for drafting. Draft position is massive right now for me. And this game right here, the Cardinals, I believe, are the third pick, and the Bears are – Zain, you could answer me in terms – I don't know where the Bears are now in the draft order.
I think they're second.
They're second, yeah.
I think.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So, wow. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go with Johnny's pick here. I think that this is kind of come right down to the wire. You got Justin Fields, you got Kyler Murray, kind of two quarterbacks that are very up and down with their play. They've obviously shown flashes. They also, are very susceptible for turning it over. It's in Chicago, though. In Chicago in December against a team that is in Arizona, hot weather. I'm going to take the matchup of the Bears here, but I'm going to lay the points for the Cardinals because I don't think that the Bears have what it takes to blow teams out. You saw what happened last week against the Browns. Obviously, the Browns are a better team, but the Bears are kind of that team that's always kind of in it against the teams. So I'm going to have the Bears here to win, but I do think that the Cardinals are going to lay the points with the fact that the line is only made a little bit extra than I expect.
What about you, Tom?
I mean, I'm going to take it as part of my argument for why the Bears are going to win this because I'm joining you guys on that front. I mean, it's a matter of, number one, that the Bears are playing in Chicago, and this game is in Chicago, and the Bears are a cold weather team. The Arizona Cardinals, I mean, I just looked. It's going to be about 50 or so degrees at Soldier Field in Chicago on Sunday. So is it, it could very well be colder. It could be worse for the Cardinals, but that's still pretty cold compared to playing in Arizona. Bears also have a top rushing defense. For as bad as a team that they are, they have a very decent rushing defense that needs to be given more credit. And just a simple fact is that they've been playing so much better. They were one Darnell Mooney catch away from pulling it off against Cleveland. So they have been playing some great football as of late, and you got to give credit where it's due. So I am going to take the Bears. And Zain, actually, I have a for Christmas present for you. Just give me a second right here.
Oh no.
Okay. You know what this is, right?
Yeah, I do.
It is a key.
No.
And you know why you need a key.
No, you're not.
Let's go. Let's go. We love to see it.
Wow.
I'm Bears. Take the money. It's my lock of the week.
Oh,
Let's
it is.
go.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I think Bears is a lock. That might be the very first time that's ever happened on this.
Let's go. We love to see it. That's awesome.
All right, Nick Morgasen, what do you think here?
Actually, so by the way, I do want to correct one thing. So the Bears right now currently are 5th overall. I just looked it up.
All right.
They got
2
and 5.
Yeah,
no,
2 and
no,
5.
it would be 1. It would be 1 and
Carolina.
5.
1 and 5. Okay.
Well, I was going to
so-
say, remember, their early pick is because they have the Panthers pick.
Right, and then New England is 2, Arizona is 3. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. Tom knows this. I'm not the biggest fan of the Bears. Like I haven't been all year.
But Arizona is such a bad team.
Oh no, I'm not disagreeing. This is a crappy matchup, and to be honest, in general, like if I had to pick a game to watch, it's definitely not going to be this one. Sorry, Zan.
It's going to be the call for Christmas game.
Well, if it makes you feel better, only 2 parts of the country are getting it: Illinois, and Arizona. So
that's a good point. But you're right. The Cardinals are a bad team. Their quarterback situation has been like a lottery ticket. Like they have to hope that they keep scratching it off until they find the right numbers to win. Even though James Conner has been really good for them. Like he's kind of found a resurgence in Arizona as a running back. I mean, but that's not going to help them win.
But as I said, the Bears have a good rushing defense.
They do have a good rushing defense. I'm still up in the air with Justin Fields. I just don't. I'm not a fan. I think at some point he's going to get replaced again. At some point, I don't think they're going to stick with him. I don't know when that's going to be. Could be next year. It could be 2 years from now. I don't know. But in this matchup, they're the better team. So take them.
So real quick, would you say this is a crapshoot game?
Yes.
Okay, so that means we're in for another. That means that Kevin, Mark, and Laura are in for another thriller involving the Bears there at Soldier Field. Zain, you got a good crew though, so that'll be something to watch there. All right, Now we get to a great game here in the late window. It is in fact a Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olson, Aaron Andrews, and Tom Rinaldi special on Fox. Tom, we've got 2 10-4 teams dueling it out. Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, and Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins. And at Hard Rock Stadium, it's the Dolphins laying 1.5 points.
This is like the second best game of the week. And the reason, under most circumstances, this would be the best game of the week. But considering the circumstances of one of the Christmas Day games that we'll get to in a little bit, this is second best. But this is going to be incredible to watch. It should be fun. You got the explosivity of the Miami offense, and Dak Prescott, who, has his ups and downs, but there have been times this season where he has played great and has been in the MVP mix. Defense, the Cowboys were banged up at defense, but they play well. The Dolphins are just an overall spectacular team. What is the over-under on this game?
I'll get it for you. I have it open right here.
I'm really curious about
50. 50.
And can I be honest with you? I think they can hit that and then some.
Oh, I think that's. I would take the up on that.
I think I have that. I think I have that as one of my Wolf spreads, but I got to check. I have an over for something. That being said, I mean the Cowboys are riding with a lot of momentum, but I think part of that, of why they have the NFC East as of right now, is just because of how bad Philadelphia has been playing. But the Cowboys, if you look at their schedule, I mean, they're playing Miami.
It's brutal.
Yeah, it's a brutal end to the season. They're playing Miami, and then next week, they play
Detroit.
the Lions on the Monday night football game, and then they've got to play Washington, which isn't much. Meanwhile, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, you have the 2 Giants games, 16-18, and then sandwiched between you have the Cardinals. So the Cowboys, it's going to be a lot tougher of a means to hang on to that, NFC East title. But we're going to do it anyway, I think, because you know what? We can absolutely run through this Miami team. We can run through whoever stands in our path. Washington, what a joke. Detroit, they're choking so hard because they're typical Detroit. Despite that Jerry impression, I'm going with Miami, and I am taking the money on this one. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be competitive. But the fact that it's only a 1.5 point spread, I think you got to go with. I'm going to lean towards Miami on this one. I can't rule Dallas out, which is why I kind of leaned away from using lock on this one. But yeah, no, this will be fun. And I'm like Johnny. If I could use a lock on an over under, I would use it on this game for the over 50.
Yeah, I mean,
so Tom's taking the money. No Jerry in this one. Nick, what do you have?
Yeah, I had to go back and forth on this quite a few times. Obviously, there is quite a bit of injuries heading into this game. Tyreek, do we know if he plays? That could be a massive factor. I read a report that the whole offensive line was not at practice, which is a whole nother issue in itself. And I think I saw Xavier Howard, another one who's out. Like, there's a lot of injuries for Miami, but the Cowboys were kind of brought back down to earth this past week by Buffalo, getting the shit beat out of them. It's the honest word I can think of. But Josh Allen just outplayed Dak Prescott in every way, shape, or form. And we all know this. The Cowboys can't perform in the big games at all. And you know how desperate ESPN wants the Cowboys to win that big game so that they can be talked about for 12 hours a day. But sorry, Jerry, I'm putting coal in your stocking for this one. I'm taking the Dolphins to cover. I just think Dak's not going to show up.
Zain, what about you?
Yeah, this is going to be game and just wanted to give you guys a little nugget that according to Ticketmaster, the most expensive tickets for this game are going to be found in the 100 section, valued at $1,300. So you want to talk about the demand for this game being unbelievable? The demand for this game is super hot. So anyone watching this game in Miami, planning to go to the game at Hard Rock Stadium, get there as early as possible.
I have to interrupt you. Sorry, Zan. I have to interrupt you for a second. I almost forgot. We do have a playoff scenario in this one for Miami. If all they need to do is win, and they have a playoff berth. Otherwise, they're going to need a tie and then some other help. So they got to win on this one. A loss won't clinch them a playoff berth. That being said, if a Miami tie and a Buffalo loss, or a Miami win and a Buffalo loss or tie, and the AFC East race is over. So Miami closing in very quickly on the AFC East division.
Good to know. So getting to my pick now, these are two fantastic teams in both of their respective conferences. Love the way Miami's been playing as of late, even though they didn't have Tyreek Hill last week. I think this is one of those games where it's an absolute instant classic. I think Miami wins this game, but I think Dallas did just enough with Dak Prescott to cover. Give me a last-second field goal victory for the Dolphins and Jason Sanders to win in this game 28-27 in Miami, in an absolute thriller of a game that just he's a total shootout going back and forth. I think that Tony Pollard is a big running the football, but I think Dallas's defense just crumbles in the final minute and to lose yet another game that they probably should win, but unfortunately they won't. So with that being said, I do think that Miami wraps up a playoff berth at the win this weekend at home.
I'm just going to say, if that happens, you're going to hear a lot of this guy's voice.
Who was on crack?
I'm just saying, you're going to hear a lot of that man's voice. The Cowboys lost a big game. How about them Cowboys? They lost.
Or I'll do the Twitter thing of, well, obviously, that's my favorite. That's but it has to come after a loss.
So what's been the phrase of the week for me, guys? Upset special.
Unknown?
No.
I'm doing it again here. I'm absolutely taking Dallas here because you know why? Because you want to talk about the Cowboys winning a big game on the road. That's all quite and fair, but until the Dolphins can prove to me that they can beat a great team that also has a great defense, then I cannot trust them. And that's why
Mr. Montalbano. Yes.
And I get that I cannot. And yes, I cannot. And Jerry, I cannot trust the Cowboys winning a big game on the road here, but I cannot see them laying another dud. I think this is 31-30 Dallas, and they.
Thanks some of those comments there,
fashion here. So I'm
wait.
I'm gonna go with the boys. I think Zan. I think 28-27 was also a right idea, but I think it's the other way. I think it's Dallas's game to win. And again, Miami has not done this. I mean, if you look at all their losses this year, they've been against better teams. I get away from Hard Rock, but better teams that have had great defenses. And you know what? Dallas's defense, I know they did that last week. They're not doing that for 2 straight weeks. So that's why I'm going to take the boys here on the road.
Wait, Johnny.
It's been a big one in an instant classic.
Johnny, did you just say with a 1.5 point spread, you're predicting a 1 point game?
Oh, I think this game's.
That's what I said too.
I'm taking the boys to win outright, though. I don't think the boys just cover this. I think they win it outright. I think it's 31-30, 28-27 Dallas.
Wow.
Zan's the one that's only given that's threading the needle by taking a 1 point win with Miami.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Yeah, no, I could not do that. I mean, I would have to win 8 times my reward if I'm going to do. I would have to get 8 points to win that kind of.
I was going to say.
Yeah, no, but I'm taking Dallas 31-30 to beat the Dolphins here, and I know you can't trust the boys on the road, but I can't trust the Dolphins to win a game against a great team with a superior defense. That's why I think the Dolphins are not a top 5 team in the NFL, because they have not done that. Zan, I'll give you a perfect example. If we're talking about the college football playoff, the playoff, like that scenario, the Dolphins are not even close to being discussed with their resume.
No, absolutely not.
but we don't do that in the NFL. But
Typical
I'll take
Florida
long
teams
story
getting
short,
left
I'm
out of
taking
the field.
Dallas. Ben?
You know what? Johnny has a point. But with that being said, I'm going to go with Miami. One thing about what Johnny mentioned is the Dolphins in December. We don't know in terms of what they can do in December. They've been a team that's tend to kind of go downward, but the Cowboys can't show up in prime time. So maybe I'll have to go ask Jerry. What do you think? Do you think I should ride with Dallas on the road or with the team that's kind of going on the decline? Well, they're going on the decline from Jerry's world to a place that's hot in December, a team that plays really well at home, and a team that I do think will score points against this Miami team, especially they're depleted, but I'm going to ride that 1.5. I just Dallas out on the road. I just can't trust them. So I'm going to ride the
Mr.
1.5.
Cruz, Mr. Cruz, I would have some comments for
Jerry.
you. I would have some comments for you, but I would get kicked off at the air if I said them on here.
Fair enough.
Well, Jerry, what's your thoughts on the Patriots? Oh, wait, don't say that now.
Yeah.
All right, let me look real quick here. So Paul has the Cowboys, and Nick D is also taking the Cowboys. So again, two guys who are not here also riding with me here. So it's another split call in this 10-4 thriller down there in Miami. All right, video number 2.
I think we should name today's.
What?
Is that Tom?
Sorry, I was gonna say. I think in the MMA outsider style, we should name today's episode "Split Decision."
Split decision. A few more games where that may come from, including this one on Sunday Night Football on the NFL Network. But before we get to that, looks like we might have another treat.
Yes, but let's get to it.
Merry Christmas,
country,
everybody.
Broncos country, let's ride. Broncos country, let's ride. Let's ride.
Wow. Oh, my God.
Brilliant. That's brilliant. That is brilliant.
Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas.
By the way, that was on our side, not the video. But
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome.
So what is
well-
better? The compilation that I did with all the counting down with the 12 days of Christmas or 12 days of Jetsmas, or the photo job that I did to Russell Wilson on the ground looking like he's riding through a one-horse open sleigh.
12 Days of Jetsmas, I think, is way better.
They both are great though for their own reason. Though. I don't think you can pick one over the other. They're too good. Well, a couple of weeks earlier in the season, game was going to be a laughing stock, but now it's a big one here on Sunday Night Football on the NFL Network this week because now you've got the Pats in draft order slot. You have the Broncos competing for a playoff position. Well, Ben Kruse, let's go to you here. It is in fact a Rich Eisen, Kurt Warner, James Palmer, and Sherry Burris special on the NFL Network as New England Patriots head to Empower Field at Mile High to take on Russell Wilson and those Denver Broncos. And it's the Broncos a 6.5-point favorite.
Yeah, well, I've been used to having the Patriots go to Denver and having some marquee great games in the past on the good end and on the bad end. Yeah, no, this is not the old days for sure. We got Bailey Zappi, Russell Wilson, Christmas Eve night. Man, the night before going on vacation. You know, the Patriots are number 2 in the draft. Don't screw this up, please. There's 3 games left. I never thought I would say this in my fandom as a Patriots fan to tank and lose out, but now is the time. I think now's the time to do it. I just think that Bailey Zappi's had 2 good. I'd say 2 for 4 in terms of halves so far. He's had 2 really good opening halves. They played really tough in the Chiefs the first half, and then the second half, it was kind of typical in terms of what we've seen all season. The Broncos defense obviously has been really good. They had a letdown obviously last week in Detroit, which I did expect that the Lions were going to come out on top in this one. the Broncos are just kind of up and down. Are just kind of that team that's been very up and down. Bill Belichick has faced Russell Wilson a couple times in the past, so I do think, guys, with the way this Patriots defense has been as of late, and the way that they've been able to kind of manage to score a little bit, kind of in the first halves of the last couple games, the 6.5. You know what, Johnny? I'm going to lay the points to the Pats here. I think that they're going to find a way to make this game kind of close, and then kind of like the Chiefs last week. It's going to be all let's ride this in the second half. So I'm going to have the Broncos to win, but I'm going to go with my Pats to cover to make it somewhat nice, and for the tank to keep on going.
By the way, you couldn't say that with a straight face.
I couldn't.
So he's got the best of both worlds there. Tom, what do you think here?
Look, I mean, the Broncos, for all it's worth, I remember us laughing at them, and we still laugh at them at losses. Granted, the example being the video that we just saw, but they have been playing much better in the second half of this season. Meanwhile, with the Patriots, right now we're in a debate about whether Bill Belichick will be coming back or not. And there's already the rumors have already started to spread that Belichick could find his way over to Los Angeles with the Chargers next season. Just in terms of talent, though, just in terms of the talent on both ends, you know what? I have a way I can give my pick here. I'm gonna tell it's only a few lines, but a little bit of a story. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all at Mile High, you can hear the people shouting.
Let's ride.
Wow.
Wow.
I hope we get Denver for more than 3 weeks. More than 3 weeks.
That is awesome.
We need them we need to make the run into January and beyond. Nick Morgasen, what do you think?
I'm just gonna sum mine up in my pickup in one way. That's how I sum up my pick. Yeah, take the money.
Zan?
I mean, this is going to be just an instant classic of hilarity. This is the game that you watch after opening dozens of presents, and you literally have nothing else to do but sit and watch this game. This game is going to be absolutely horrible, but something tells me that there's no way, no how that Bill Belichick, with maybe only a couple of games to go in his Patriots tenure, doesn't make this game close, because I think he does. And I'm going to be in a very similar wavelength as my colleague Ben Kruse. I'm picking the Patriots to cover this.
Yeah.
I love Denver. I love Denver to cover. Something tells me that this game is just going to scream just ugly, and whoever makes the final mistake at the end of the game is going to win. And unfortunately, a late Bailey's interception is going to kill all hope of one of the biggest upsets of the entire NFL season. So Denver keeps rolling and moves one step closer to clinching what looked like 7 weeks ago an improbable AFC postseason for a mouse away. And also, you guys were talking about it, how we really do need the Denver Broncos going into January. Just imagine if somehow, some way, Denver pulls up all the stops and makes it to the AFC Championship game.
Good.
Oh, my
God.
God.
You on that too.
By the way,
Ahead of ourselves.
one thing. I'm gonna look right into this camera here. Okay, to make this a better game, you should make it a drinking game. Get some eggnog. Watch this game. That'd be the perfect way to end Christmas. Just grab like one of those like industrial size eggnogs and just start chugging eggnog. Don't get sick, by the way. I'm not condoning over drinking, but just grab an eggnog, just kind of cool out, and then it'll make that game easier to watch.
Little Evan Williamsburg eggnog. That's what I'm talking about. First of all, I won't be up that late, so you don't have to worry about that. By the way, Zan, Ben, you guys sold the hell out of the Patriots covering this game. I give you guys a lot of credit. You're both wrong, though. I'm taking the Broncos line to 6.5 here, because you know what? I understand the Broncos defense was bad. What's a get right recipe? You play a team that's terrible offensively. That's what the Patriots are. Don't think too much about it. Don't put too much effort into this game. it's going to be the Broncos by at least a touchdown there at Empower Field at Mile High. And don't get too drunk and hungover with eggnog because you got three Christmas Day games starting at 1 p.m. Eastern here with a Jim Nance, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wolfson special on CBS. Tom, it is the Las Vegas Raiders and Aiden O'Connell coming off their 63-point outburst last Thursday against the Chargers. They go to Arrowhead to face Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chiefs are laying 10 points here.
Oh, and Johnny, a couple of things. Number one, don't forget that this is not just the CBS game. This is also the Nickelodeon Christmas game. And I actually have some information on the Nickelodeon broadcast crew.
Tom, I'm going to give you an opportunity to host this game, to like what Nick and I have done. Do you want to take the honors and do the Nickelodeon crew?
Sure.
So not only is it
a
Nance, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wilson special on CBS, but it also is in fact a
Noah Eagle, Nate Burleson, Dylan Schefter special on Nickelodeon with featured guests. Wait, we have featured guests Raphael and Donatello of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That was great. I'll tell you what. Next week, I'm going to give you that. You can host next week. That'll be awesome. You always come here on Football Friday. So, with all that in mind, Tom, what do you think about the actual game itself here?
Actually, Johnny, but wait, there's more.
Oh yes.
No.
If Kansas City wins this game, the AFC West race is over. Denver will have to hope for a wild card. So that's why I did the wild card mention in the Broncos country video, because Kansas City just has to win or a tie plus a Denver loss, and they've got the division. And to be quite honest with you, I know Kansas City has struggled with the Raiders in the past. And these division matchups end up being, they end up having a lot of craziness. And there's a lot of concern around the Chiefs, especially when it comes to their receiving core. That said, big game. It's not a primetime game, but it is a special game, considering, Christmas, considering Nickelodeon. I just do not see how in a big game, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, especially against a team like the Raiders, who aren't exactly great, just don't deliver. So I'm scared to take the money on this one, but I will be kind and lay the 10 points down. Chiefs win. Chiefs win the division this week. Merry Christmas, Kansas City.
Nick, what about you?
Yeah, the Chiefs have kind of been a little bit up and down. I guess you could say play down to their competition, if that's the word you really want to use for the Chiefs as of late. I don't know. They had a concerning loss to Green Bay. They lost to Buffalo. For a second, I thought they were actually playing halfway decent against New England, believe it or not, and then they just kind of gave it away in the end. I think the Chiefs will win, but I don't think they cover. I think I'm taking Raiders plus 10 with the Chiefs winning.
Zan, what about you?
Yeah, I mean this is one of those games where the Chiefs should easily have no problems. I think that they probably studied the film of the first game, knew that they were playing down to the Raiders in the first half, and they obviously came back and were able to rally and win that game. I just think it's going to be too hard for Aiden O'Connell, Antonio Pierce and company to keep up with, in my opinion, the most exciting quarterback in the AFC. So maybe next year for the Raiders, as the Chiefs will win, they will win the division, which also, in contrast to that, means that the Raiders will be officially eliminated from postseason contention once again. So give me the Chiefs to win this game. I'm going to say 34-13 over Vegas, and what will probably be a very cold atmosphere in Kansas City, Missouri, at a very loud Arrowhead Stadium, and probably in front of a lot of very, very excited fans who have nothing better to do than watch their hometown Chiefs in another AFC division. So I love the Chiefs here.
Is Taylor Swift in attendance?
Good question. More than likely, I would say yeah.
Okay, then I should be scared.
Yes, they're definitely going to shake it off against the Raiders.
That's it.
I don't see.
Give Ben 10 points just for that.
I don't see. I don't see the Raiders going into Arrowhead and pulling this upset. Yeah, the Chiefs have had their moments of kind of up and down play. I like Nick mentioned. We had a chance last week for a little bit, even though I didn't expect us winning. But yeah, the Chiefs, I think it's going to be like a 25, 14. They're going to kind of the Raiders are going to kind of keep it close, kind of like their pads for last week. But the Chiefs are just too much. They're at their place. Pacheco maybe might come back. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was really good last week. Rasheed Rice is blossoming into a really good receiver for them. And Travis Kelce, to be honest, guys, has not been great the last couple of weeks. I don't know in terms of what's going on. But you know what? He's responding. Taylor's going to be in the building in Kansas City. Lay the money.
Weather might be a factor in this one. They're talking about rain over the next couple of days there in Kansas City, and it's actually going to be kind of mild for late December. This is a line that's almost begging you to take the Raiders. I mean, the fact they put up 63 points and they're going to have extra rest going into this one. But I feel like I want to take the Raiders so bad here because they've got the defense that can definitely keep this game a lower scoring game. But I think Vegas and the betting public is trying to trap me going one way. So when that happens, I'm going to go the other way, and I'm going to take the Chiefs laying the 10 points at home. I wanted to take the Raiders in the points because their defense, I think, can do it, but I just don't know if that 63-point game last week was an outlier. So I think this is kind of a lower scoring one. I think it's like 27-14. That's where I'm leaning at. So I will take the money with the Chiefs here over the Raiders at Arrowhead, at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium on Christmas afternoon. But we got more Christmas football. In fact, 2 more games. We've got Joe Davis, Daryl Moose Johnston, and Pam Oliver on Fox as we head to Philadelphia. It is my New York Football Giants taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Eagles a 12-point favorite at home. Let me just say this first and foremost. I mean, is there any team in football that gets more disrespected by spreads or lines than the New York Giants?
No.
Now, that being said, let me say this as a Giant fan. This is the get-right game for the Eagles. And, the Giants are playing consecutive road games, which is always tough. It's tougher when it's against a team playing for a division title while we're playing out the string. And look, I mean, I could see why you could take the Giants and the points in this spot, but I got to tell you, I could just see right now this is the get-right spot for Philadelphia. I know they didn't look that great. They haven't looked that great recently, but that the Eagles feast on this kind of matchup. I think Philadelphia wins this game by 2 touchdowns. So that's why I'm going to take the money here with the Eagles over my Giants. This would have been a tough matchup no matter what the circumstance was. The game last week for the Giants was totally not on Tommy DeVito. It was on the fact that Saquon Barkley could not do anything. The Giants could not protect DeVito to save his life, which has been the story of most of the season. And I think this is the game where Philadelphia's pass rush gets going. I think Jalen Hurts gets going, and they win this by 2 scores. So I will take the money here with Philadelphia at home on Christmas afternoon. Ben?
Yeah, I mean, you think that with the Eagles, they could be able to take this cover fairly easily. And obviously the Giants have not been great offensively for the last couple of weeks. They've obviously had their great stretch with Tommy DeVito. But with the way that coaching change with Matt Patricia and that defense right now, that secondary has been very up and down. I think personally right now, I'm going to lay the Giants with the points. I think that they're going to find a way with about 10 points. Like it's going to be like a 27-17. This feels, guys, perfectly like a backdoor cover type of a game where, the score doesn't kind of indicate in terms of the score. It's going to be kind of like 27-17. I feel like the Giants kind of will figure it out a little bit kind of at the end, like they always kind of do against this team in Philadelphia. So I'm going to have the Eagles win, but I do think the Giants are going to do enough to lay the points.
What about you, Zan?
Yeah, I mean, it's your classic NFC East battle. Both of these teams hate each other, but I think as much as I love Tommy DeVito and as much as I'm a proud Illinois alumni like he is, I just think that this spot is too big for him. The Eagles are one of the best teams in the NFC. They're one of the major favorites to win in the Super Bowl. If it was really any other team in the NFL, favored by 12, I would kind of question whether or not it would go that way. But given the Eagles have struggled over the last 3 to 4 weeks, I'm comfortable picking the Eagles in this spot, knowing that this is a must-win game and a right game before the Eagles are more than likely going to have a very difficult playoff road. That it is more than likely going to see them rematch San Francisco, and I'm sure San Francisco will be licking their chops to get back in Philadelphia after what happened a year ago in the NFC Championship. So I will love the Eagles in this spot. Nothing to worry about here. And although the Tommy DeVito craze for the last 12 to 14 days has been, and maybe it's better luck next year for the Giants. So with that being said, give me the Eagles to win by at least 2 touchdowns. And similarly to you, Johnny, on the same wavelength, I think this line is begging you to go the other way, and I'm very conservative like you. When that happens, I always like to take the home team here, and I think the weather will play a factor. So give me the Eagles.
Tom, I have a Giant fan in this group today. What do you have?
Well, first, in response to you, Johnny, are you saying that the Giants have a weak offensive line that hinders the Saquon Barkley and whoever the quarterback is? No, shocker!
It was
Not
better
like
for a
it's
little
been
bit, but
every
it went
season.
back to earth last week. That for sure, Tom.
Wait, did someone say shocker?
Oh my God! But in response to Zan, can you still say that the Eagles are one of the best teams in the NFL? Because
I
after
still
that
think
loss,
I still think you can. Yeah, I do. I do.
after that loss to Seattle, I think it's concern time
3
because
straight
this is
losses.
and not just 3 straight losses, and 2 games that were absolute blowouts, and one where they choke in the last quarter. This is a concern, a major concern for this Philadelphia team. That and honestly,
To counter for you, I don't think that 3 games defines its season with a team like that. That's what I that's
I'll
what
But
count. I'll
wait,
counter.
I think.
I will counter your counter. I think we talk about momentum, and we've talked about it with Detroit, and we talked about it with Jacksonville.
Yep.
I think I think where momentum really does play a role. But I will give you this, Sam. It's not on Jalen Hurts, and it's not on the Eagles' offense.
I
That
agree with that.
that defense has been absolutely sloppy throughout several
Secondary.
points this season. The secondary has been terrible. I think to that Washington game earlier this season, where they lost it in the fourth quarter, they had to bring it into overtime. There are concerns here. But now, like I said, the Eagles are going to get the division from the Cowboys back because of schedule. And there is no question that the Eagles are going to bounce back and get a win here. We've said that. I've said that since the beginning. Most of what I've predicted about the Giants season, Nick, Johnny, because you were there for the NFL preview, has been correct. And I said 2 of the last 3 games against the Eagles, no matter where the Giants fell, it was going to be bad news for them. But that being said, if we're going to consider momentum and everything, as much as this could be a make-right bounce back game, I'm going to go with Ben, and I say that this is a backdoor kind of cover where I think that this could be a 10 or 11 point game rather than hitting the 12. I think I think that if the Giants defense shows up in the powerhouse way that it can, there could give some issue. And if Tommy DeVito, if Tommy DeVito and Saquon Barkley can get around the defensive line of the Eagles, considering the weakened nature of that defense, I think they can make it closer than they expect. But I will give you this. If that happens, I will give it to Johnny and Zan. I will give you this. If that happens and the Eagles can't cover against the New York Giants, who are one of the, who are a very weak offensive team, one of the worst offenses in the NFL. I don't think that solves anything. I think that still brings us a lot of questions about Philadelphia heading to the playoffs.
So you're going to take the Giants to cover, Eagles to win. What about you, Nick?
So the one thing I would debate and argue back, Jalen Hurts has made some terrible decisions in the last couple of games with throws. That throw that he threw. What? What did you say?
I said he's been very erratic lately.
And that throw on the interception, which by the way was very close, still got in with the 2 feet. What an I don't know who made that catch on the interception.
Julian Love.
Yeah, Love.
That was an incredible catch. Just like an incredible catch, getting 2 feet in. Should have thrown that ball away. Should have absolutely thrown that ball away and just lined it back up. There was no reason to force that throw down the field. You cost him the game. And that's a game you needed to win. And on the argument of momentum's sake, you lost to San Francisco. You lost to Dallas. The 2 teams that are up there in the top 5 teams with the Eagles. You can't lose to these teams. You have to beat these teams.
Nick, they're probably going to play one of those teams in playoffs.
That's my point. That's why you can't lose to them. So, I don't know. I'm with Tom, and I think I'm with Ben here. I think that the Giants are going to cover plus 12, but I think they'll win. But I wouldn't be surprised if this got close in the end because the secondary is a problem.
Are you still picking the Eagles to win at least?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Zan, I don't think that's the question. I don't think it's the question that the Eagles are going to win in Philadelphia. It's a matter of how the Eagles are going to perform.
They'll be fine.
Yeah, is it the Eagles that we saw earlier on the season? Or is it the Eagles are like, yeah, we're going to just barely squeak it out against a team that's within a top 10 pick? Because think about it. The Eagles have their next 3 games pretty much the easiest part of their schedule. But if they're within, a score or something like that the next couple weeks, then I don't think anybody should believe of this team to be maybe becoming something that we maybe expect, down the road.
And as much as I'm a Giants fan, I have been praising and I've been praising and singing their praises ever since the beginning of the season. I picked the Eagles to win the Super Bowl this year during our NFL preview. And at this point, I don't know if I can keep that prediction. At this point, San Francisco is playing a hell of a lot better than they are.
Yeah. Let me give you one more thing, and then we can move on. The 2 Giant games and the Arizona game, I think that's actually fool's gold. I think that's actually going to hurt the Eagles because they're playing teams that are not up to competition. So you're not going to get to see the Eagles at their best competing going into the playoffs because they're playing teams that don't care. So I think that's going to hurt them down the stretch.
Well, they'll play with a lot of high confidence because they can beat these teams, but it's just like, all right, now go do it against the teams that you just played before then.
That's my point. That's my point.
I'll just wrap it up with this. They're going to have to play their best because of playoff positioning and playoff seeding. They're going to need to play their best of those.
They will.
Games. That's what we'll see what happens.
Everyone thought they were going to run away, and they're not now. They're not.
Oh yeah, away. No. I mean,
they're wild
13 or 14 wins at the start of the year. That now is not.
They remind me of one of the Patriot teams back in the day. I don't remember the year, but everybody was freaking out. It was like a couple years ago, and the Patriots on like a 3-game losing streak, but then they kind of just faltered late in the season, and then they were one of the bounced down the first or second round. It just kind of happened that way. So
we'll find out. We got time for that. All right, Nick, let's wrap up with one of the best games of the year. Forget of the week, of the year. It is, in fact, a Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and Lisa Salter special on ABC as we've got Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens and Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers at Levi Stadium, and the Niners are a 5-point home favorite.
Oh, hold on a minute. So we're going to wrap up the playoff scenarios with a double scenario. I'm going to raise the stakes of this game even further.
Yeah.
Okay.
Deservedly, too.
If Baltimore wins and Cleveland loses, then Baltimore clinches the AFC North. However, and this one's going to be a little more over the top and a little more, I guess, impossible you want to say, but if San Francisco wins, if the Giants pull off the upset against Philly, if Miami defeats Dallas and the Vikings defeat Detroit, the NFC will run through San Francisco in the playoffs. If all 5 of those things happen, all four of those things happen, the chase for the number one seed's over, and that will be San Francisco's.
So based on that, Nick, what do you have here?
Like we were all saying, this is the probably the best game of the year, not just week of the year. These two teams are probably 1-2. Brock Purdy a little up, a little down. Now he's the odds-on MVP favorite, if I'm not mistaken. Now, even though I don't think he's going to win the MVP, they're healthy. Christian McCaffrey's healthy. Debo's healthy. As much as I like the Ravens and the way they're playing and defensively, I just think the Niners are the best team in the NFL, hands down. I think they're the best team, and I think they're going to cover, and this is going to be a big game for them down the stretch, so I'm taking the Niners.
Yeah. I'm taking the Niners laying the 5 points here, and this is going to be my lock of the week. And it's tricky to do that with such a great matchup, but here's why I'm going to take the Niners and lock this one. And I am so high on the Ravens this year, but the Ravens are playing consecutive road games, and the best unit of the four in this matchup is the 49ers offense. I think that's what gets this one done, and I think that Brock Purdy wins the MVP battle over Lamar Jackson, so at least for this week. So I will lay the 5 points with the 49ers. I think this is a touchdown game for San Fran, but I think that's enough with my lock of the week here, so that's what I'll roll with. Ben?
Well, first, I'd like to thank the football gods for getting us a nice Christmas gift to cap off the night because, man, I'm very excited for this one, especially when I have Celtics-Lakers right beforehand. I'll be on must-watch TV with vacation. I'll be feeling good on Christmas, I'll say that. But this game overall, it's really going to be a really, really good one. A Super Bowl potential preview. You got two really good young coaches with Harbaugh and Shanahan. You got two MVP candidates right now, Lamar Jackson and Brock Purdy. And you got two high-powered offenses. One that's pretty much more balanced attack with offense through the pass and the run. And then with the Ravens, they're more kind of highly powered run, but they can throw it when they want to as well. So with that being said, I was considering laying the points here with the Ravens because I think it's going to come right down to the final drive. But I really think that the Niners is playing a really high level right now. Ever since Debo and Trent Williams both came back, they've just been playing like they've been playing early on before they got hurt. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the 49ers to lay the 5 here.
Dan, what about you?
I love this game of the year, potential Super Bowl preview. These are two of the most exciting offenses in the NFL. Brock Purdy and Lamar Jackson are a joy to watch, and I just see this being a back and forth shootout of a game, one of the best games that I can remember. And I actually see Brock Purdy going on an 87-yard game-winning drive with about a minute to go to win this one late in regulation. I think that Debo Samuel catches the game-winning touchdown pass. I think that San Francisco wins this game 38-31 in an absolute instant classic and a ratings juggernaut for both the NFL and NBC. And I am going to go. I'm going to go as far to say that if Kansas City and San Francisco do not meet in the Super Bowl, which is my preseason pick, even though I was not on the NFL preview show, if those two teams don't meet, this is going to be a prequel to what the Super Bowl is going to be this February in Las Vegas. I'm gonna go as far and say that.
All right, Tom, what do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, Zan, you're not wrong. That these are two powerhouse offenses. These are two of the best, if not the two best teams right now in the National Football League. I mean, this is going to be such a fun matchup to watch. Two MVP candidates. That being said, I think the 49ers are a little more of a complete team. I think the Ravens, Odell has been making some pretty great catches. Zay Flowers, I think, has definitely shown himself very worthy as a rookie. I think Lamar's finally got weapons around him as an offense. That said, I think the offensive pieces on the San Francisco side has been better. Especially, remember how they were all banged up and then they have the bye week and everybody comes back. And ever since then, it's just been rolling with momentum. And you can't forget that San Francisco also boasts one of the best defenses in the National Football League with Bosa and who did they get from Washington? Was that Chase Young?
Young.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so they got Chase Young. That's a deadly top two, in terms of defensive players. So that being said, it's going to be close, but I think the 49ers can win this game by a touchdown. So I will lay the points down on San Francisco at home.
All right, Nick, wrap us up here for Week 16.
Wait, didn't I give you my pick or no?
Oh, you did. You did. That's right. Well, what I meant to say was, let's get to our wolf spread plays here for Week 16. As you know, we get 2,000 fantasy dollars. We got to spend at least 1,500 of it, and that's what we're going to try and do here. I'm going to go first here since I'm right now leading with a $21 plus $100 profit. And you know what? I'm in the mood to make some money this week, and I'm in the mood to go bold. So I got, again, 8 plays like I usually do more often than not, $250 plays. I've got 5 money lines, 1 spread, 2 totals. So here are the plays. I'm taking the Steelers on the money line over the Bengals. They're getting 2 points. I think they win that game outright. One of my totals is the Commander Jet game under 37. I think the Jets win a low-scoring game there. I'm going to take the Colts on the money line over the Falcons. They were getting a point, but if they're getting a point, I'll just take them on the money line. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm taking the Vikings on the money line now. On wolf spreads, they're getting 3.5, but I think I'm taking them on the money line. I'm going to take the Titans also on the money line over the Seahawks. I've got the under in the Cardinal Bear game, 43.5. I think it's a little bit of a lower scoring game there. I'll take the Cowboys to win outright, so I got them on the money line. And I will lay on wolf spreads 4.5 for the 49ers is what they're laying on wolf spreads. So I will take that as well. So 5 money line plays, 2 totals, and a spread for Week 16. Nick Morgasen, you're second, so you can go second here.
All right, so obviously my wild lock for this week. What are they on wolf spreads? The Commanders are +3. So I have that. I have the under as well, under 37, I think is what it was.
Yes.
And then my other ones were Cleveland -2.5, Green Bay -4.5, Dolphins -1.5, Giants +12, and the Niners -4.5.
All right, there we go. Who wants to go next? Tom, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. I'll go next. So I actually managed to wager all 2,000 of the fantasy dollars again. But this time, I haven't focused on just a few games. I actually have spread everything out. So I'm doing that a little differently. I start things off. I have laid 350 fantasy dollars on the Packers, the 4.5 spread. I did a double bet with the Browns, the -145. And the -2.5 spread, 200 fantasy dollars on each. The Bears, as my lock of the week, I did a double with them. The -4 spread, the -210 money line, 250 fantasy dollars on each. The Giants, I have laid on the 250 fantasy dollars on the +12 spread. And then I actually did 2 overs. I placed 200 on the Cowboys-Dolphins game to go over to 50 points. And I also placed 300 fantasy dollars on the Ravens-49ers game to go over 47 points.
Good solid choices there. Zan, what about you?
Yeah, so I'm currently sitting in fourth with a total profit of $278, getting a really nice win last week where I went 4-1 and totaled 752. So I'm happy to be out of the red after a really
Out of the red.
I'm happy to be out of the red after a really horrible week the week prior. So let's continue on with this really nice moment. And I actually have a few interesting picks here, and for each of them, I've used the wolf spread premium feature. So that's why, if you notice, the lines and over-unders are a little different. That is the reason for it. My first play is the Pittsburgh Steelers to cover an alternate spread of 4 points. That is a $400 fantasy wager to win 235. My next pick is the Jets Commanders under. I got it at 39, $350 to win 233. I have the Colts as an alternate point spread, $400 to win 250. I have the Dallas Cowboys to cover another running spread of $200 to win 118. And then my final pick of my slate is the Kansas City Chiefs to cover the 8 points. And that's another alternate play, $250 to win 187. I went 4-1 last week. I'm hoping to keep the positive vibes going to go undefeated and to stay afloat in this competition. So those are my Week 16 NFL plays, again presented by Wolf Spreads.
All right, Ben, what do you got here?
I love the finish that Zan had, by the way. Presented by Will Springs. For me, I have 4 plays, but I'm going to have 3 of them that I really feel good about. The Packers are going to go with one of the next ones, the 4.5, the Packers spread. I feel pretty good about that one. Panthers, to me, are just not been great this year. I'm going with the under in the Jets-Commanders game. I don't think there's going to be a lot of offense in that one whatsoever, so I'm going to lay the under in that one. And then the Baltimore-San Fran game, I'm going to lay the over with 47 points. I think it's going to be a shootout type of game. And so I think, Tom, you had that one.
Yeah, I had
I'm going to lay
Packers,
that one.
I had both the Packers one and the Ravens 49ers over.
All right, we're twinning in this then. I'll go with the over and the Ravens San Fran game.
All right, and there we go. And that'll put a bow on Week 16 of the NFL season. And when we come back with you next week, we'll have just 2 more to go in the regular season, and the playoff time will be here. Just also quick programming notes. So next week, Football Friday, once again, will premiere on Thursday at 12 Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, as we will do every game starting with the Thursday game leading into Sunday and Monday. And, of course, the big Saturday game that's happening that week as well. So we've got that. I know there's a live stream planned for next Saturday as well. We'll give you more information about that next week as well. And then, of course, we get you ready for a new year in the world and, of course, here on ETB as well. So make sure, first and foremost, check out our website first off, check out youtube.com/ETB network, where if you like our Football Fridays and all of our content, make sure to leave us a like. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. And, of course, make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when all of our stuff is going to be coming out. Also, check out our website at etbpodcast.com for more information about our network, all the shows and everything else, including blog posts and so much more. And if you cannot watch us here on YouTube, make sure to check us out by listening to us wherever you get your favorite podcasts, whether that's Acast, iHeart, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcasts, we are there for you. So again, we are back with you next Thursday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific for week number 17 of Football Friday. Of course, Tom and Zan still going with the MMA Outsiders. Of course, Tom and Nick with Empty the Bench, which are currently in the middle of their best ofs. Of course, we'll be back at the start of the new year for new programming as well. So guys, have a safe Merry Christmas and happy holiday weekend.
You too.
And I know, Ben, you won't be with us next week, so have a great vacation. We'll catch you in the new year, all right?
Yeah, I appreciate it. I might pop on maybe next week. I'll let you all know. I might do a surprise.
Stay tuned for that. So, for Tom Albano, Nick Morgasen, Zain Bando, Ben Kruse, and, of course, Paul Lombardi and Nick DiMartino, I'm Johnny Montalbano. Everybody have a safe Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and all that good stuff. We'll catch you all again next Thursday.